With Casey Kuhlman, you're the founder of, what's the name of the company?
Monax.
Monax. What does Monax do?
We're a user interface and integration provider over a soon-to-be-launched blockchain ecosystem called the Agreements Network.
Now that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
When I go to conferences and people are talking about blockchain, it gives me a headache after a while.
Sure.
But I try to understand it. Describe it to a person if you're sitting in a pub and say, this is what we're going to be able to do with this solution, or a lawyer that is really unfamiliar with the concept.
Sure. So one of the things that at a real core level blockchains offer is it provides us with a collaborative data and events management infrastructure.
Right.
And there's been a long history of wanting to leverage computers to manage and operate contractual agreements for us. But that's really come to a head, and there's always been a challenge, which is this. If you and I are in a contract and we want the computers to run the contract because we think that's a good idea, the question becomes, whose computers are going to run this contract? And when I say run the contract, that could be anything from calculating a late delivery penalty to just tracking that I sent the goods on a particular day. Well, if we marry this long-established need to have computers help us move transactional and legal documents into the digital age with what blockchains can give us in terms of collaboratively managed data and events infrastructure, what we can do is get around this question of whose computers are going to run the contract by all of our computers are going to run the contract.
And that's where your solution can come into play.
Well, us and others. So we're it's a collaborative, open ecosystem that anyone can join.
Why you? How did you start this?
So I'm a former lawyer.
Right. It's not like you wake up one morning and say, "This is what I'm going to do."
Well, I could go back. I've had quite a windy journey to where I am now. I'm probably one of the very few entrepreneurs that's ran my own law firm in Somalia, for example.
Well, you're always an entrepreneur when you start your own law firm.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I did the same thing. We've already been scared.
Yeah.
When did you start this?
So we started our company 4 years ago.
And then what was it that made you start it? That you said, okay, were you practicing law then?
I was.
So what made you say, okay, I want to do this, and I see the opportunity? What was it?
Pardon me. The big opportunity that I saw was an ability to help my clients move beyond paper-based documents into managing systems digitally. And I had a lot of small business-focused clients in a very poor country on earth. At this time, I was in Somalia, and they were actually digitally savvy enough that they would much prefer a digital solution that could do these than a paper-based solution.
You were in Somalia?
Yeah.
When this all came about?
Yes. Well, that's where I was when I stumbled across blockchain technology, and I stumbled across it because I had I was one of the only, probably the only Western-oriented lawyer in that jurisdiction, and because of that, I would get a lot of work for multinationals wanting to do a global survey of business record retention policies. And so a big law firm would call me because I was probably the only person in Somalia they could talk to. The question then becomes, how do they pay me? Because Somalia isn't integrated into the global financial systems. So I had a whole system that I had set up in order to get the money that a law firm might pay you in terms of a wire transfer into cash in hand that I could actually pay my rent. And a piece of that pipeline during de-risking that was happening in late 2013, early 2014 was very much threatened. And because of that, I started looking at Bitcoin initially, which a lot of people at that time were touting as the savior to the remittance industries. So then from there, I kind of I realized that this technology solves this real fundamental problem that I was talking about before of actually opening up for us a space for the computers to start running the contracts.
Are you still practicing law?
No, I went non-practicing when we started Monax.
Yeah. Why do that? I mean, why leap from, okay, I'm practicing law, I have some way to make a living.
Yeah.
Over here, I'm going to start Monax. No assurance that it's going to be a huge success. How were you able to do that and to cope with, I don't know if it was fear at some extent, but you're driven by optimism at the same time and the idea.
Absolutely. I mean, so before I was a lawyer, I was a Marine, for example, and one of the things I always said when I was a Marine in the U.S. was that we're there to kick the door in and hold it open long enough for others to flood through. And I like going first. That's what makes me excited, is going to areas which are kind of unknown, that are sort of on the edge, and building things that hopefully matter. And so that's why when I saw this opportunity open up, for me it was a relatively natural transition. I am historically a lawyer by training and a technologist by habit. I've been programming since I was 6, and so I was always interested in finding a space where I could merge those two passions in a way that made sense to me.
Where are you based now?
I live in Edinburgh.
Okay. And what's your market? Who are you reaching for customers that use your product?
For the Monax product, we're predominantly we're still pre-product, to be clear. We will be launching our product later this year in beta.
Where do you see the market?
Our early adopter class will be tech startups predominantly.
Okay. How are you funding it and supporting yourself?
We're a venture-backed company.
You are?
Yeah.
How difficult was it for you to go out and get that venture capital to support it? The initial bits came to us, and that we, in the very early days of smart contract-enabled blockchains, we're one of the few groups of people, me and my co-founders, that were really touting this as a solution that made business sense. Where were you touting it? How were people hearing about it so that they would actually come to you?
Writings mostly, and writings and code around those writings, and we were lucky enough in our initial founder class, our initial investor class, to have some early believers that where we were going resonated, and they saw this as being the last predominant business system, as in terms of legal contracts, that hasn't moved into the digital age, which means if you can get it right, if you can be the platform or the ecosystem that can move contracting into the digital age, you're looking at a hefty opportunity.
Have you ever raised capital before?
No, that was new. So that's why I sort of caveated at the beginning.
Had your co-founder?
None of my co-founding class had. It was new to all of us.
So imagine somebody looking at you and saying, boy, you really must have known this stuff. You knew how to raise money, you know how to get venture capital, and you're laughing now.
Yeah.
How did you navigate that phase where you say, okay.
Carefully.
Did you have to get a lawyer to help you, or did you guys able to do it because you...
Yeah, you never want to be your own lawyer. I mean, we were 3 co-founders. 2 of us were lawyers. 2 of us had practiced transactional law, but you never want to be your own lawyer. And to be, for me, and you asked about whether I'm practicing or not, for me, I took the practicing hat off, and I did it for a reason, because it's very different being a lawyer and running at least a tech-focused startup. And I realize a lot of lawyers run their own business, but when you are a lawyer, you have a capability of being very black and white. It's us versus them. Yep. We're on this side of the deal, they're on that side of the deal. And you can be much more clear about here's the lines, right, etc. But when you're on the business side of that relationship, you don't necessarily have that luxury. No, particularly early stage, you have to live in the gray area.
There's all gray. And what's funny is I might be telling my legal counsel, they'll say, well, this is where it is, this is what it is. But I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to move on and do this thing. Yeah. Because I can't slow down. Right. But when I started my first company, I just closed the doors from the law firm, blind optimism. Mm-hmm. That it would work out and did get funding for it. But I'm of the true belief that you do need to get out of the practice of law if you're really going to start something. I agree. I know that you need, if you have a family, you have to be able to support your family and have some revenue coming in. The firm provides you that safety net. But I don't know how you learn it fast enough if you're not in it.
Exactly.
Day in and day out.
Yeah.
Every day. Because it's, like you said, it's totally new. Was there a time when you thought, maybe this isn't going to work? You wake up in the middle of the night.
A time. Yes, there was only one, Kevin. Only one. You know, it's funny being a startup founder. It really is some of the highest highs I've had in my professional life, and some of the lowest lows as well. I mean, and rarely is it ever somewhere in the middle. I mean, nothing is mundane in startup life. And if if you do have a mundane week, you should be worried. In my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I mean, there'd be times by putting my head leaning against the wall and going, does it have to be this hard? But this is going to pass. This issue right now, I'm going to get it behind me somehow, because you always do somehow.
I'll give you a very timely example. I didn't sleep last night. I literally did not. Not because of stress, but because I was working to make sure that our stuff was set up for today and we could make a good resonance with the people here. And I mean, whether I stay up or not is immaterial.
What do you think about this Legal Geek Conference?
I think that this team does a fantastic job. I must admit that this is historically and consistently been kind of the best gathering point for people that I respect within the legal tech community.
Yeah, I mean, so you have one of the startup areas out here. How many are there, you think? There got to be 50, 75, maybe 100.
Yeah. We upsold to be on the startup lawn, but yeah, there's a lot, and it sort of begs the question of what are people here to do, right?
And what are you, when you do that? What are you hoping to do by having that presence?
Yeah, for the reason that we're here is to get the word out about the Agreements Network as an open ecosystem that lawyers can participate in, businesses can participate in, legal tech startups can participate in, and to really focus on that. So we're not really here, this isn't the target market for the Monax platform, but it is very much the target market for Agreements Network participants, and we really think that we have something that of value that folks could be very interested in.
And you're going to reach influencers here, and they're going to talk about you and see what you guys are writing about, that type of thing. So, hey, well, thanks a lot, Casey.
Thank you, Kevin.